Let's pivot, talk a little Cavaliers for a second. It was a
Just for a second, it's over. We're done.
Second quarter for Cleveland yesterday as they lost to the Boston Celtics on ABC in Tatum's second game back. Jason, I'll start with you on this one, but what was your biggest takeaway from the loss to Boston yesterday?
I'm not going to overreact. Had they come in here and beat Boston by 20 and everyone would be celebrating that they're going to the finals, I probably would not overreact to that either and say, okay, guys, it's one game. So I'll say the same thing here. It's one game. Obviously, they lost it in the second quarter. It was a horrible second quarter shooting performance. And you know, when I first came in, I told Mike I didn't really like the shot selection. I felt like they were taking a lot of out-of-rhythm shots. And then Mike gave me some of the numbers and showed me some of the clips, and I said, okay, you're right. And it was a lot of good looks that just weren't falling. I think Boston's better than Cleveland, even with the Harden trade. We talked about it last week. I said I think Boston would be favored in a series, and certainly that appears to be the case. If you look at some of the numbers to win the East, Boston's heavy favorites right now. It's just the Tatum Brown pairing is just hard, and you got to make shots when you're playing them. You can't have off shooting nights. So part of it is it's a make or miss league and all that stuff. So I think the Cavs have their hands full with the Celtics, but they're still a really good team, and I do think that there's been a lot of way too much overreaction to suddenly the Cavs, it looks like they're falling apart. Well, no, they just played a really good team that's got all its pieces back.
Yeah, listen, we said it with Bull the other day. We talked about him when they were on here. I get it. It's a make or miss league. I get that. You're going to miss some shots sometimes, right? But that can't be that can't always be the cue for the Cavs. That's been what the Cavs has been doing for 3-4 years. Like, and this group of teams, I think it is also unfair to judge this group of individuals because this group of individuals ain't been here and together and playing like the rest of them. But there is one thing that I do want to see. This is a wake-up call a little bit in terms of offensively. I think the Cavs need to figure out what they are. I think sometimes, they miss a lot of shots. And sometimes they go through these spurts where if they're not making shots, they just lose the game. And you have to find something else. And for once, Mobley actually played well in the first half, and he actually showed up and pulled up. Jared Allen wasn't playing, and I think that hurt him a little bit too. But I want to see the mentality a little bit flip the switch. Like, for the Cavs, they got to have this thing where when you play in the Boston Celtics, you have to have the mentality, and because the game wasn't even that close. I thought Boston, for the most part, got the loose rebounds, the loose balls. I think they came in, and when you watch Boston play, they don't look like they have no problem going through the Cavs. There's no resistance. I feel like in this game, it never seemed like the Celtics was even pushed. It didn't seem like they was even bothered. Like, it was like, you guys are here or not. And sometimes, especially when you got Jayson Tatum coming back, and he's a very good player, but sometimes you got to let Jayson Tatum know, and you can't let him just get to where he wants to get to. I ain't going to say take him out of the air and foul him tough, but you need to be more physical with him. Sometimes the Cavs do lazy closeout sometimes, and you can't let your energy be dictated by if you're making shots or not. You can't be a front runner. You have to be able to do other things that affect the game, whether that's being physical, whether that's ramping up your defense, whether that's guys are clamping down. If you can't hit threes, let's get to the lane. Let's get to the free throw line. Sometimes it just seems like they let Boston, and don't get me twisted. Boston is a good team, but sometimes they got to have some resistance, and they got to be like, okay, guys, we're not about to let you just get to your favorite pet shots, and we got to find other things to do if we're not making shots.
It was an embarrassing loss. The Cavs played a lousy game. I don't care about their comeback. Making it close is meaningless. Now, you know what else is meaningless? The regular season in the NBA. It has no value whatsoever. We waste months and months on this. It is insane that there are 5 weeks left in the regular season. It is a complete travesty. Now, young fans love the NBA, so the NBA doesn't need to do anything. But the NBA season is way too long. It'd be a much better league if you had less teams in the playoffs. You have garbage teams that go to the playoffs in the NBA. It stinks. That being said, obviously, we had a discussion, I think it was me, you, and Tyvis the other day, about who would be the toughest competitor for the Cavs in the playoffs, and you and I both said Boston. Or was it me, you, and Tyvis? I think it was me, Jason. I don't remember.
I think we
and
talked about
Tyvis
Boston.
said Detroit.
And I was like, we ain't worried
Who
about
did
Detroit.
Tyvis say, Mike? Did he say Detroit or the Knicks?
I don't know yet.
I think we all said Boston.
It had
I
to be.
think Tyvis said something.
It had to be Boston.
It's clearly
right?
Boston. Let's hope Boston doesn't get the 1 seed because the Cavs are probably going to be the 4, and you don't want to play them in the semifinals. I mean, I don't know. It could be totally different come playoff time. But the Celtics, with Tatum and Brown, have had the Cavs number big time since LeBron's left, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. I mean, Tatum, the Celtics are clearly the best team in the East. Doesn't mean the Cavs can't win, but the Celtics are the best team in the East.
I don't disagree
Right?
with that.
I mean, Detroit's
No argument.
Detroit's playing terrible basketball now. They've lost 4 in a row. They're going to, I wouldn't surprise me if Boston ends up winning the East in the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, the Cavs would much rather play Detroit. They'd much rather play New York. Boston's a bad matchup for them and frankly, everybody, just because of the size they have and their ability to put 5 players out on the court who are all offensive threats individually without having to sacrifice any gigantic defensive issues is what makes them such a hard matchup for everybody. Like, even with the Cavs, for example, like Dean Wade, we'll use him. It's not only Dean. We could use Keon Ellis. There are other guys. They don't give you a ton on offense, but you need them for their defense and rebounding. And you could play against the Cavs and shade off of one Dean Wade or shade off of a Keon Ellis who hasn't been able to buy a 3 since coming to Cleveland yet, and focus your attention with extra help to Donovan, to James, to the Rolls, to whatever. You can't leave anyone on Boston open because it's Sam Hauser who can make 5
Do they have
threes on any
anybody
night.
that can't score on Boston?
Queta, their big man, is a pick and roll big guy.
Yeah.
But you can't not guard the big man because he's 2 feet
Right.
from the basket. It's just a different it's a different help
Yeah.
scenario. And boy, I came in today and I told these I was ready to fight you on this, but I'm not going to fight you. You didn't say what I thought you were going to say.
What did you think I was going to say?
My Twitter mentions after the game yesterday were an absolute dumpster.
I mean, I'm not going to. It was
No,
a
no,
bit
no.
like
No,
they
no, no.
played crappy, but I'm not going to
they
lose
did.
my
And
mind over
no,
this.
they did play crappy. And the common take from at least Twitter, and once again, I know Twitter's a small sample of reality, was this team's soft, they're frauds, blow it up, basically.
Yeah.
And they did not play well yesterday. And I'm not going to try and defend that whatsoever. Like, they did not play well. And there are some legitimate concerns about their matchup with Boston and why Boston is such a difficult matchup for them. And Boston did some really good things yesterday. But at the end of the day, the Cavs missed a ton of wide open shots. Steve, play this montage real quick. This was the second quarter where they missed 16 threes. You can play this whenever you're ready, Steve. Look at some of these misses. Are these good looks, Bull? These wide open looks? Like, that's a wide open look for James Harden that he's got to make. You can just let this play. This is as good of an offensive shot as you can generate, and Donovan Mitchell just missed a 3 there. You're going to miss shots. There are going to be games where that's a good look too. You're going to miss games, miss shots. They missed a ton of shots. You're not going to beat anybody missing 16 straight threes. For the most part,
but sometimes the opponent factors into that because you feel a pressure maybe that you don't against the worst opponent.
And Boston switched.
Yeah.
And the big concern coming out of this game to me is every time they play Boston or any time the Cavs have had to rely on their role guys to make shots, a la the playoffs in the past, they have not been able to.
The Celtics are battle tested and proven. The Cavs are not.
And by the way, sometimes you're open for a reason. Like, it ain't
right.
Like, this is the blueprint. All right, if Dean Wade is going to kill us, so be it. If Keon Ellis is going to hit 5, 6 threes, so be it.
Yeah.
But we're going to shade. We're going to make. If Thomas Bryant is missing these 3, listen, those shots are there because those guys are role players for a reason.
And even guys we love like Jalen Tyson and Sam Merrill,
they're not.
Those guys haven't proven anything in the postseason.
And that's my bigger issue, or my bigger big point. Cavs need those guys to make shots because teams like Boston are going to force the ancillary role guys to make shots in a playoff series, and they have yet to prove, and that is a legitimate concern. Can you count on those guys to make shots?
Right.
The other takeaway from yesterday, and I was telling Jason beforehand, it's the first time I thought James Harden looked a little injured. And it was the first time a team has defended him in a way where he was not able to turn the corner and get downhill. They were playing drop coverage. They were switching. His handle's still good, but this is an elite ball handler in James Harden, and I don't think he was able to make Boston pay in the kind of mid-range area with those floaters that he's become so accustomed to making time after time, like the Cavs needed him to last night. Since he got hurt in the 3 games since, he's taken 13 shots in the paint and 23 threes. That's not a good enough ratio, not a good enough –
Yeah.
I like the word shot diet. I'll use the word shot diet. It's not a good enough shot diet for James Harden to punish teams for playing the way they're playing. Now, it's worth mentioning there was no Jared Allen last night. Jared Allen's their best screener.
Yeah, whatever.
For James to get downhill, the screener has to make contact so he can turn the corner. They did not have him. That does make a difference. But it was the first time since he's been hurt that I looked at James Harden and said,
I can't take another 5 weeks of the NBA regular season. I can't take
But
it.
it's not.
I gotta have the playoffs.
There's all this talk about shortening the season. It's not going to happen.
I
because
know.
of the
I know.
revenue.
And, Bull, you're right for what it's worth. It should be shortened.
Oh,
It's not. It's not going.
I know.
I don't see any.
Couldn't they make up the revenue in other ways?
But you would do those other ways to create more. Why would you intentionally take money out of your pocket?
I hear you.
So it's never
better
gonna,
for the sport.
I would actually be in favor of reducing the number of playoff teams. Go to 6.
Well, that'd be great. That would be. You'd have to play harder in the regular season.
Then yeah.
Man, but
sure.
that also costs them revenue.
Hey, listen, why is every game a 7-game series? They used to have it 5 games. You didn't get no 7 games before. It was 5-game series, and then you got to a 7-game series as you went to the finals.
By the way, you know how you can make up some of the revenue? Make the NBA, the conference finals and the NBA finals best of 9.
Jeez.
Good
Just
gracious.
go best of 13.
McNuggets, I will say this. I do think you said something about James Harden, and yeah, he is injured. Like, he's playing with a broken hand. You could tell that he's not. I ain't gonna say he's hesitant to get to the basket, but when you're hesitant and you try to go to the basket and you got to finish over guys, your hand's gonna get hit. You got to trust me. Like, that's part of the calculus. Like, whether he know it or not. But here's
a big deal.
It's sort of a big deal. So, like, look, I'm not worried about that. Like you said, it's the regular season. I give him credit for gutting it out. All I care about is if he's ready to go during the playoffs. But here's what I will say about the way they're playing in the playoffs. You talked about the shot diet. For them to be effective to beat the Celtics, James Harden has to be a person, when he comes off the pick and roll, right now it looks like his primary first and second read is automatically, I'm trying to find guys. In the playoffs, that got to go to, when I turn the corner, I'm looking for my floater. When I turn the corner, I'm looking to be aggressive, because now all that drop coverage, you have to make them get up out of that. So yeah, it's cool to be able to, like, be a facilitator now, but the only way I see the Cavs beating teams like the Celtics who have long defenders, who have these guys, is James Harden has to be a 25-point type guy. Donovan Mitchell got to be about 30. That's the way they're going to get it done. And the other guys, yeah, they either – you can't count on your role guys to be going. So you got to get aggressive early so that you can put yourself and keep yourself in the game. But you can't be throwing the ball to Jaylen Tyson and dudes in the corner and Dean Wade thinking they're going to get it done. They got to be 30 points, 25, 30 every
Tampering
day.
window's open.
It is. We're ready to go.
Travis Kelce's going back to Kansas City, by
It
the
is.
way.
We'll get to all that stuff at
Browns
the end.
fans were
of the show.
dreaming that
Yeah.
he would. You're saying I can't jump in with news?
Nope.
Travis Kelce returning to KC? It's not
That's not news?
Yeah, his girl told him he ain't going nowhere.
really.
Mike, you've done a topic about the Browns signing a backup right guard.
Right, Chris
And you're going to
Paul.
tell me Travis Kelce, one of the
was
most
Albert
famous
Breer.
football players,
Chris Paul.
That
when
wasn't
fans
me.
were trying to con themselves yesterday into believing he could come to the Browns,
Chris Paul.
is not a big deal?
I guess we'll see.
We
the
broke down Chris Paul, who we never heard of.
ever.
I was
10 minutes.
I sent you the list of free agents we're going to talk about, Bull. He was one that came up this morning because he was on the Browns' radar.
Hey, man, I take Cliff Paul. Give me him.
All right, go ahead.
Last thing on the Cavs, then we'll move on. But, G, you're right. Harden was not brought here to be a 15-7 guy in the playoffs. They acquired James Harden to, be there in the playoffs first and foremost.
Right.
Like, physically just actually be there.
So, okay.
And
Yeah.
2, be a guy who, when Donovan doesn't have it, or even a game when Donovan does have it, can give you 25 to 30 points.
He has to have
8-9
it.
assists, and more importantly, control the pace of the game.
That's another thing. I didn't like the pace yesterday. I didn't like the pace. I don't think the Cavs get enough easy buckets. They get bogged down sometimes.
Well, Mike, that's the thing. I know you want to move, but
No, we can listen,
when
I'll
you're
talk Cavs all
not,
day.
they're going to live and die by the three, right?
Yeah.
Like that's who they are. But when they're not falling, at what point do you try and create easy baskets for yourself?
Right.
And it just seems like they just and because shooters shoot. And I remember talking to Deion Waiters about that, and Deion's like, I could miss 11 in a row, Jay. The 12th one's going in. I'm like, no, it's not.
You're right.
But shooters, I mean, and Mike could speak to that. Shooters have the mentality, it don't matter how many you miss, the next one's going in. And that's why they're in the NBA.
Right.
That's why that's how you need to be. You need to be psychotic like that. But at some point, when shots aren't falling, you got to be able to do something to create easy looks for yourself.
By the
but
way,
you have to, if you're going to beat Boston, you have to make threes.
I'm jumping in with breaking news, guys. So sorry, Mike. Alec Pierce returning to the Colts. He was mentioned with the Browns.
All right, I will allow Travis Kelce. I'm not allowing Alec Pierce.
Alec Pierce.
He's getting $29 million a year.
What?
That's actually big news.
So that's
29?
29. That's the new going rate.
Wow.
Alec Pierce, 4 years, $114 million to return to the Colts.
Dog. Hey, man, shout out to you, man. You holding it down. Dustin is somewhere proud. White skill positions is coming up. White skill, like,
$28.5 million per year.
that man secured the bag, bro. 20. Do you?
That's a lot of money.
That's like who was the biggest? I'm trying to think of the last biggest name like that went in free agency, like contracts for like receivers. Like that has to be the biggest.
I mean, Jamar Chase signed an extension, but
how much was that?
Jamar Chase getting 40.
He got 40-something million a year.
I mean, but it's Jamar Chase though.
Yeah. I mean,
He in the
Alec
same
Pierce
neighborhood.
is like
he's in
an
an
average
It makes
guy.
Alex
He's
Pierce
in
the
his-
ninth highest paid receiver in football.
He's the what?
Now the ninth highest paid receiver in football.
I think he had 1,000.
I was gonna say-
Barely 1,000.
I was going to say the Jerry Jeudy contract doesn't look bad, but it still looks bad.
Jason, back to you. How do you create other offense? Mobley actually had a pretty good game yesterday. Like 24 points, was 10 and 19 from the floor. He started the game off real well. Boston doesn't have a great matchup for Evan.
No.
And Richard Jefferson called it out in the middle of the game because he backed down Derek White on one possession and scored with relative ease. And then Richard Jefferson, who was calling the game yesterday, was just like, hey, that's a position where the Cavs have a definitive advantage.
I mean, Mobley smoked him in the playoffs a couple years.
Right.
That was his big breakout, was that playoff series.
If Evan Mobley, see this, so sometimes I get frustrated when people settle for threes. If they're not falling, yes, you can be delusional and say they're not falling. But listen, you don't want to play the game. You playing the Celtics game. That's what they want. Payton Pritchard and Hauser. If Payton Pritchard and Hauser is on the court, that is barbecue chicken deluxe. You supposed to be getting the ball. Evan, I want you to. I'm gonna go to you every time, and you better be dropping it off left hand, right hand in the paint on these dudes. Because guess what? Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're awesome. But I need to see you do that when you got 3-4 fouls. Like the Cavs got a guy they basically play 2 7-footers, right? You're playing Jared Allen, you're playing Evan Mobley. Who do they have that is supposed to be doing something with them?
I mean, Vucevic didn't even play last night.
He didn't even use him.
It was just no, he was out.
He was inconspicuous. He wasn't playing. But I'm looking at the dudes. I'm like, listen, you gotta force them to make a decision. They was just dropping off like, yeah, I guess. But that's a place where Evan Mobley should be eating every game. He should be eating down there. Now, Jared Allen, by the way, I never thought I would say, dang, we missed Jared Allen yesterday. And actually, I thought they did.
No, they for sure did.
Yeah.
If nothing else, as a screener to help James Harden turn the corner.
Oh, if not, but no, that's the best pick and roll. Like Harden and Allen is the best pick and roll, and he's finishing around the basket. And by the way, too, I think they need to up. And this is playoff basketball a little bit. I think that they'll switch up. Like from set game to game, Kenny will do something to try to take one of those guys out.
It's a completely different league in the playoffs. It's a totally different game.
So they're not going to use nothing up. They're not using anything like defensive wise. What they're going to do, it's just very vanilla because they know when it comes to the playoffs, you got 2 days to match up and figure out what you're going to do, and they can switch up looks from game to game. So I'm not even really worried about that too much. They just need to get back and get healthy and figure out what they're going to do. And I wouldn't count on Max Strus. We ain't heard nothing from him. Is he still alive? Playing?
We got a positive update.
Is he going to play this year? Haven't we been getting positive updates?
He went through a full practice on Friday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is one doctor's clearance away from being cleared to play.
Ooh.
So,
okay.
I would guess sometime the next week we see a Max Strus.
I never thought I would say, good gracious, Max Strus, because one of the things I will say is Max Strus is feisty defensively.
Yeah.
And he's hit some big shots in the playoffs. So let that be.
That's true. Unlike a lot of these other Cavs, that is true.
So,
by the way, there is a rumor that the Falcons are interested in Tua.
Which is hysterical. I love it.
We'd have a Tua Kevin Stefanski pairing.
All lefty quarterbacks.
Give me Kyler Murray. If you I would take any of the quarterbacks over Tua. Richardson, give him. At least I can run wild dog on the. So, but nah, I'm not. Remember, remember, we old enough to remember Tank for Tua.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Tank for Tua, yeah.
Tank for Tua.
The Patriots are signing Ravens defensive end Draymond Jones.
We've been trying to get him here.
So the Ravens gain Max Crosby. They lose Draymond Jones.